We're 3 rounds into the Spar and Pool Factory New Zealand Offshore Powerboat Championship, and that's what's brought us to the nation's capital, Wellington. We're coming to you from the Wellington waterfront, and well, you can see from the pictures it's pretty windy, so Wellington is living up to its reputation. Vastly different conditions from what we saw in Maraetai a fortnight ago, and conversely different conditions from what we saw at the first round in Taupo. So this is round number 3 of 5. Before we hit the water for some action, let's check the points table. In the National Opens, it's placemakers with 400 out of 3 wins from 3 starts. National Class A is Twisted, Greg Ninke. In Class Sports B, it's John Frew. And in Class C, it is Broomstick, Joanne Lomax. In Formula Honda, Greg Brink is the dominant boat. And in the overall placings, it's placemakers from FMI Racing and Cytec in 3rd. Well, Freiburg Pool was the venue for the pitch for round number 4 of the Spar and Pool Factory Offshore Powerboat Racing, and a big crowd came down to look at the boats go into the water and to meet the drivers. Plenty of stars in action, and one of them, one of the locals, and that was Grant Smith.
Oh, look, today we're after a finish. It's going to be pretty rough out there, so we just want to circulate and try and keep up with the pack, but we'll be struggling to keep up with the big 32-footers today.
All new for us again, totally different to Maraetai, totally different to Taupo. Coming back up the other side by the airport, there was a strong wind coming down that side, and this boat stuffs a lot of air down the middle of the tunnel, and certainly that wind speed got underneath us, which was a bit of a new sensation. So yeah, look, it's different again, and I'm sure we're going to learn a lot.
Wellington is a good race. It has its bays where you can get the boat cranked up, and you've got to watch the winds come off the points. But it can be a learner's area that if they miss it, they're going to be in big trouble.
After problems at Maraetai, Peter Turner was looking for a good result here in Wellington.
We really need to do well today. We can't afford another DNF, but it's all part of learning.
Well, I guess all eyes would be on the placemakers boat. They had been dominant in this season as they have in the past.
There you go. How's that? Put that on your wall at home. Hey?
Oh yeah, obviously here to win. We've had a good record here I think we've won the last 5 years, so we'd like to make it number 6.
Back in the field after problems in Taupo and a non-start in Maraetai, Adrian Hanley.
It probably doesn't look as rough as Maraetai, and we always say this every year that it doesn't look too bad, but there's some places on the course here that are really, really quite rough, and there's some shallow spots in the harbour that can catch you out. So, but certainly on the surface it doesn't look as bad as Maraetai, but you never know till you get out there.
Formula Honda was back at Wellington, bigger and better than ever, and they're all chasing Greg Brink.
Well, one thing for us, we want to finish because, I mean, right now we've got a good points lead, and looking at the conditions out there, the big thing is really getting to the end of the 60 miles, so that's what we'll be aiming on doing.
First race coming up, what are your expectations?
I think we'll just take it easy today. Certainly don't want to break the boat or the co-pilot, so no, we'll just go out there and we'll have fun, and if we get a good place, well, that's what we want.
Well, the boat's making their way out into the starting area, and as we've seen in so many times in offshore powerboating, the calm before the storm, if you like. We're on board here with Warren Lewis and FMI Racing. They are lined up, set to go. It's a straight drag race out toward the lighthouse, and away we go. And look at the start that FMI Racing has got. This is the new boys, Warren and Scott Lewis. They have been, they've been learning every single round, and they've learnt well because they're in the front, and that's a bit of a surprise. And that's Sleepyhead alongside them now. Sleepyhead really needs to have a good performance here to get their championship title hopes back on track. They had a DNF recorded at Maraetai when the safety hatch came off the bottom of the boat. There is Jesse James. Now, they are oldies but goodies, if you like, the Velder brothers. They never seem to bother them what the conditions are like. They just get out there and do the job. But a real surprise is the battle at the front, FMI Racing, and there is placemakers, Richard Shawes and Wayne Carson, and they are a distant third at the moment. So whether they were kept or caught napping at the start, I'm not too sure, but they're chasing arch-rival Peter Turner, and he in turn is chasing FMI. And how about this? Side-by-side racing in round number 3 of the Spar and Pool Factory Offshore Powerboat Racing. You're on board here with Warren Lewis in FMI Racing, and just listen to the quietness between the thumping. That's the airtime that these guys are getting in their skater hull, their twin Mercury powered skater. They had some problems, a bit of drama before the start. They had to go back to Lower Hutt to find some parts for the boat. They got the boat into the water, and now they are back in second place because Peter Turner and Craig Archer has gone past them. This is Cytec at the moment back in 4th place. Grant Smith at the controls there, and DMZ Global, great to see them back. They had problems in the Taupo round. They burned an engine and then they couldn't start at Maraetai. Wayne Gardner and Adrian Handley. Jesse James, though, just continues to forge its way through the deep conditions. So too Supercat. Rolly Morris and Bevan Antonelli there. There is DMZ Global. Now, as we said, they had some problems in the first 2 rounds, so they're another one that really need to get their championship title hopes back on track. Brilliant shots coming from our chase helicopter here. There's one of the Honda boats, a big contingent of Honda boats here today for round 3, so the class is growing all the time. And that, I believe, is the Thompson brothers. And Broomstick there, Joanne Lomax, just making hard work in the conditions. You can see for yourself, it's pretty lumpy. The forecast saying that it was going to get out to about 40 or 50 kilometres an hour. And that is harrowing here in the Wellington harbour. On board, the camera mounted just above the transom on Broomstick. As we're riding here with Joanne Lomax, she has been the dominant boat in her class. And this is the dominant boat in the series so far, so status quo is resumed. Placemakers goes back into the front. FMI back in 2nd place, and Sleepyhead not too far behind in 3rd. So Richard Shaw's and Wayne Carson obviously making up for a bad start, coming down into the town turn, if you like, right down close by the Freiburg pool. That's where the pits were located, and that's where the first buoy is. This is the battle. We've seen it so many times. Jesse James and Supercat. Jesse James going around the outside of Supercat to lap them, I believe, even early on. And this is the battle I was alluding to. Cytec right in behind Jesse James. We saw this at Maraetai, and we're seeing it again here at Wellington. Well, close quarter racing here in the Hondas. On the outside, the blue boat, that's Kelly Smith and the Gambler. Inside of her is James Downs. Now, James is brand new to the class, and he is really covering himself with glory here. And this is the battle at the front of the field. Sleepyhead on the top of your screen, that is Peter Turner. Craig Archer standing in for the regular co-driver with them. And then it's the Lewis brothers, Warren and Scott. Sleepyhead just edging ahead. But of course, 2 different classes battling out here at Wellington. 5 classes up for decision in the National Championship. We're back on board with FMI Racing. And listen to the pounding this boat takes. Getting some serious airtime as they battle back into the wind from Evans Bay. FMI Racing, Warren and Scott Lewis, brand new to offshore powerboating. Oh, and some problems there. Oh, we said the conditions were rough, and that's exactly what they are. Honda's battling side by side, looks like Brink and the Thompson brothers. Oh, and problems for Alien. Alien's broached by the look of it. Oh, and that could be very, very serious. And that is Dean Veal and Stu Beecroft, and it looks like one of them's gone swimming, and I think that's the co-pilot. That is Stu Beecroft in the water. Well, look at this. Have a look at it on the replay. Watch the air they get off the top of this huge wave. And they just come down, stern down, and unfortunately the boat turns immediately sideways, and out comes the co-driver. The good news is he's swimming back to the boat, but I think their race may be done. This race, though, goes on at the front of the field. Sleepyhead, number 44, Peter Turner and Craig Archer, battling out for the major positions. There is the Supercat, Perry Morris and Bevan Antonelli there. And there looks like to be Predator, one of the sports C-class boats, making hard work of these conditions, as they all are. But this man is doing it the best of all of them at the moment. He is the reigning champion. That is Richard Shaw's 10, the Velda brothers and Jesse James, one of the oldest boats in the fleet, but it just gets the job done every single time, running back in about 3rd or 4th at the moment. So Sleepyhead runs up into 2nd place, then it's FMI Racing, then it'll be Jesse James, and then it would be Cytec. And once again, we see great racing between Cytec and Jesse James. Here, though, is FMI Racing, and they are chasing down placemakers, and I think they're making a bit of an impression. And what an impression these guys have made this season. First full season into the cutthroat world of offshore powerboating. You're on board with them here. Warren Lewis on the steering wheel. His brother doing the throttling. And look at that, the boat heads for the sky, and how that didn't come down on its nose, and they keep on going. Well, they say that ignorance is bliss, and placemakers again right up on one hull. Conditions here are getting worse at Wellington, but they say when the going gets tough, the tough get going, and that's what they're doing here. DMZ Global back in about 5th place at the moment. Second of the Grant Smith boats in the top class, if you like. And there is Jesse James. Cytec right in behind them. So for the first time in the Spar and Pool Factory Offshore Powerboat Series. Oh, and drama here for Sleepyhead. Peter Turner and Craig Archer have come to a halt, and that's down by the town boy, if you like, when they turn close to the big crowd here. So more problems for Sleepyhead. No problems at all for Total Lubricants. This is Bill Thompson, Mr. Consistency, and another one of the old boats, but it's got that peculiar sound to it, and leaping its way down past the crowd here at the Freiburg Pool, and that is Chindit. Placemakers chasing down the race leader for the moment, and that is FMI Racing. And look at this, as close as you like. The battle between battles here. Jesse James on the bottom of your screen, and on top of the screen, there he is, getting plenty of air. This is Cytec Racing. A brand new boat this year, a skater hull, the Mercury outboard, so different class to that of Jesse James. And look at that, 3 abreast as they run back down towards the main turn here in Wellington. And this is the battle for the lead, and FMI have got the better run, and they go past Placemakers. Wow, that's something you didn't think you'd see. FMI Racing in the UAM 3 to 6 litre class have gone ahead of the National Open class winner and the champion for the last 4 years, and that is Richard Shaw's. We're on board here with FMI Racing, now in the front of the field here in round number 3 at Wellington of the Spar and Pool Factory Offshore Powerboat Racing, and you can see for yourself just how rough it is as Perry and Bevan make hard work of it as they pound their way back down towards the town. DMZ Global currently sitting in 4th place by the look of it. Oh, and major dramas here. FMI has stopped. Well, I know they had some steering problems before the race started. Maybe it's a reoccurrence of those problems, so they're out of it. Jesse James, though, right back in it in the National Class Honours, and currently sitting in 2nd place overall, chasing down Placemakers. Bad news for FMI Racing. So Placemakers in the front, Jesse James in 2nd place, and then it would be Cytec, and you can hear the engine not happy at all as they run down toward the flag and take out round 3 here at Wellington. So Placemakers continue on, bowed but unbeaten. Cytec will go through in 3rd overall, but it will win the UMI 3 to 6 litre class, but these guys win the day here once again in Wellington. They are unbeatable in the Offshore Powerboat Championship.
Hard work, really hard work today. It's just very steep chop, pretty hard on the boat. I mean, there are a lot of little bits of paint missing now, but yeah, it's a pretty nasty day. I mean, certainly the smaller boats would have been hammered pretty hard. FMI, fantastic effort from them. That's just great what they achieved. Sleepyhead was right there. I'm not sure what happened. He didn't finish, I don't think, but we haven't found out yet. So.
We certainly were running neck and neck with Placemakers right round the race there, and it was pretty cat and mouse, and mate, we were getting a lot of air and they were getting a lot of air, so the fact that we broke and they actually broke as well, but hey, they finished, and that's the moral of the story. So the bad news for us was the repairs that we did this morning on the steering rod that connects the 2 motors together. We strengthened it, and it's just bent like a piece of chewing gum, so unfortunately it cost us the race.
Well, problems too for Sleepyhead, and we're hearing that it was the safety hatch that's come adrift again.
Didn't do our championship chances very much good today, but you know, still got 5 races to go, and I guess right now I'm just trying to prove to the people that the concept and the development of this boat is something that New Zealand Offshore need to look at for the future, because it's certainly happening worldwide, and I think New Zealand's got a good opportunity to make it happen here as well.
Well, Grant Smith will be happy because not only does he win his class, but he takes over the lead in that class in the championship.
It was pretty rough there at times, but no, we managed to hold in there, and fortunately a few of the others stopped, so we came a bit further up the field than we expected.
I think you won your class.
We won the class, and I think we're 3rd overall, so that's a pretty good result for us in those sort of conditions. So
if you have a look at the points, Richard Shaw's continues his march toward the title, and in the 3 to 6 litre class, it's Cytec now in the front. In Sports A, it is Chindit out in the front now, and in Sports B, it is Predator and John Frew. In Sports C, it is Joanne Lomax, whilst in Formula Honda, Greg Brink continues to lead in the championship. Well, if we have a look at the overall placings, Placemakers in front on 1200, but then it is close between SciTech, Jesse James, and FMI and Sleepyhead.